121 Black River, Jamaica. 121 Black River, Jamaica. CQDX and standing back. Hey, good afternoon, California. 121 Jamaica.
Yeah, so you're getting Jamaican skip here, but I just wanted to catch that quick little bit of skip that's coming in. Hold on.
To my friend around Phoenix, Arizona, man. Hey, Sugar Mike 9, let me call you by your name. Let me recognize your station. Hello, Sugar Mike 9, Phoenix, Arizona, 121, Black River, Jamaica. Breaker, breaker.
Yeah. So, anyway, it's coming in perfectly. Clarifier was centered. So this video is about this clarifier here, and I don't want to make this too long. But when I unlocked the clarifier on this specific radio here, I messed around with the TX-RX offsets, right? Because you lose adjustment pretty quickly when you unlock these clarifiers. It's one of the reasons why I don't particularly care for unlocking clarifiers, but whatever. So with these particular radios here, with this particular chassis, you can kind of mess around with your offsets, your receive and your transmit offsets, in order to get your output frequency where it needs to be. So when you go, because when you unlock the clarifier, you have to kind of go beyond what the service manual says. So you kind of have to do things a little bit differently. So that's how you adjust this particular radio with the clarifier unlock. So you set your offsets so that way when you transmit, your upper sideband is going to be obviously 27.186. This is channel 19. AM's 27.185 and lower sideband's 27.184, right? So you have 1 kilohertz above and below the AM frequency, right? So that's what your sidebands are. If you set these things to this, in a perfect world, this is exactly where you'd want your radio to be. But because there's so many different radios, so many different people are adjusting, there's a lot of techs out there, variations in equipment, variations from radios, people are just opening up their radios, and even from factory, these radios are off frequency. So, with that being said, you kind of have to loosen your tolerances to compensate for other people's radios that are off frequency or drifting. So when I set this radio and I set it to where it's supposed to be, these frequencies on upper sideband and lower sideband, I found myself needing to adjust this clarifier all the way over to the 9 o'clock position in order to get a halfway decent receive on 38 lower sideband. On AM, this really doesn't make a difference. This is more for sideband. And for me, that's just way too much. I like to keep mine in the center and kind of move it a little bit. But I found myself, when I adjusted it to the proper settings, it was just too tight of a setting for real-world application. So what you need to do is, when you're adjusting your TX and your RX offsets, you need to give yourself a little bit more on the upper and a little bit less on the lower. So instead of adjusting it for 27.186 on upper sideband, adjust it for like 27.187.5. You can try that. And then your lower sideband, maybe try like 27.1835 or 25. You want to give yourself a little bit less and a little bit more on the upper sideband. So that way, when you go adjusting your clarifier, it's going to give you a little bit, you know, that your tolerances are a little bit less. So you're going to have less input on your clarifier knob, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, in a perfect world, if everybody had the same radio, adjusted by the same tech, you know, adjusted with the same equipment, this makes sense, you know. But unfortunately, it's not a perfect world. So it's kind of a crappy thing to say, but you have to kind of get your radio on looser tolerances than what it should be. You know, it's an unfortunate thing, but yeah, that's how it is. That's how it was on this radio, I found anyway. I'm not sure if this works on all radios, but when I loosened the tolerances up on the output frequency, I noticed that I was able to get this clarifier centered. And like I said before, this isn't moved, you know what I mean? I didn't pop this knob off and, you know, center it, but...
And you can't take away the corporal punishment. You can't call a charge no more. America start that foolishness, and then now Jamaica take up that bullshit. Hey, Sugar Mike 9, we got it all, man. 100% communication, man. Good to hear from you this year time, man. Hey, Sugar Mike 9, you can tell my friend 702 around Old Alberton Catcher, man, that is friend in Black River. Say howdy out here, Roger.
All right, so this is now almost perfect. I'm really happy with the way I set up this clarifier. I would have hated to have sent this over to the customer and have him need to go all the way to the 9 o'clock position just to get a lower sideband reception. Even though the radio was dead on accurate. But it's just something to keep an eye out for if you... Of course, this only applies if you unlock your clarifier. You know, because other than that, this really doesn't apply to anything else. You know, only when your clarifier is unlocked. So I hope that makes sense. Let's go to channel 6.
Trying to get. I ain't got nobody rub it in. I missed a lot of spots.
Alright, I don't want to make this video too long, but yeah, that's, if you guys come across that, you unlock your clarifier and you realize that you're almost like too accurate, I hate to say that, yeah, then you got to loosen up your tolerances a little bit on your upper sideband and your lower sideband. Alright, AM, usually, you know, it's, you put it on frequency and you're good, but the sidebands are a little bit more sensitive. So even giving yourself, you know, 1 more kilohertz, you know, spacing, might help you get this clarifier centered. So I know it worked on this radio. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching.